What up, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Fancy Princess Songclash, your boy Tone 202. Just talk about Game of Thrones, The Queen's Justice, Season 7, Episode 3. Okay, Jon Snow goes to see Queen Daenerys, and, you know, he sees the dwarf again for the first time in a long time, and talks about his scars. But the crux of the conversation, of course, delved around Jon Snow bending the knee to Queen Daenerys, and the Queen pretty much said he was an open rebellion because she is the rightful ruler of the Seven Kingdoms. Now, Jon Snow, as far as the Seven Kingdoms is concerned, he's really not interested in the Seven Kingdoms. As far as who's sitting on the throne, he doesn't care. All he knows is everyone's going to die. That's all Jon can think of. His sole purpose of going there, of course, is to mine the dragon glass that Daenerys doesn't even know it's there. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with her ruling the Seven Kingdoms. However, when she asked him to bend the knee, he's like, why would I bend the knee to somebody whose father pretty much slew my family? Like, why would I even do that? Now, we all know that Jon Snow is not a Stark. We know he's a Targaryen. You know what I mean? And there's a little look that after all the pomp and circumstance is over with and pretty much the conversation comes down to life or death, Daenerys kind of looks at Jon Snow and admires him. But the only thing I didn't like is when they were having this conversation, Sir Davos Seaworth, who is Jon's hand pretty much, I guess Jon's hand, I don't know, pretty much is, after Dany says all that she's gone through, Daenerys says all that she's gone through, Sir Davos Seaworth talks about all Jon Snow's gone through. And when he says he took a knife in the heart, he stopped right there by Jon Snow, and he doesn't really get a chance to say Jon Snow took a knife in the heart while he was Lord Commander, and they killed him, and he came back alive with the help of the Red Priestess, who just pretty much helped this union happen and just took off on the Council of Lord Varys. So it was like, why did nobody mention that Jon Snow died and came back to life? Okay, moving on. Yeah, I was like, why is nobody's gonna say this? I didn't like it, but eventually Dany lets him mine the dragon glass, and she kind of admires Jon Snow because he bring the wildlings together to be south of the wall, I guess, and nobody has ever done that before. So she looks at him and as somebody who brings the people together just like she does. And Jon Snow, I don't necessarily know if he admires Daenerys Targaryen, but I think he respects her. He mentioned the fact that every time his relatives travel south, they get their head cut off. It wasn't a bad thing, but because he felt like a prisoner because his ship is gone, and he thinks he's in trouble. He thinks he's about to lose his head to the Dothraki, but that's not what happens. Dany ends up letting him, pretty much giving him what he wants, because she's looking for as many allies as she can get, because she just lost. Euron Greyjoy just pretty much slaughtered the rest of pretty much, not all of them, but most of her fleet. So she needs help. She needs all the help she can get if she still wants to conquer Westeros. And, anyways, Euron Greyjoy is, as he says, he is the storm. Now, you gotta love Euron Greyjoy because this dude is he is Joffrey. He is Cersei. He is every bad person that you want to dislike, all wrapped up into one. And he's got magical powers. his magical ability is he's able to summon a storm. Now, remember when his brother said, I heard you were tied to a mast, because you lost your mind in the storm, and then, you end up, wants to let you down, you cut your, all the guys that were with you, you cut all their tongues out, so you notice none of his men that are, Ironborn speak. The other Ironborn speak, but none of his Ironborn speak. So he has the ability to summon storms. Let's move on. Anyways, he pretty much goes to Cersei and brings Nadia Sand and her daughter and Yara Greyjoy. And he's like, here you go. Here's a gift. Uh, the queen pretty much tells him, look, I'll be yours as soon as the war is over. Something tells me that Cersei is not going to live up to that. She's going to live through the storm. She's going to live through the battles, obviously. But something tells me that she's not going to marry Euron Greyjoy. Never trusted Greyjoy. I just can't see it happening. Let's move on. Now, of course, Cersei has, the sand snakes. And she's pissed that this woman killed her only daughter, which she loved dearly. Marcella was good. And I think she loved her because Marcella was good. See, Marcella and Tommen were good Lannisters. Even if you think it couldn't be possible, of course, the people in Westeros don't think it's possible, but they were actually good people. You know what I mean? They didn't have an evil streak. And I truly believe that Jaime Lannister is somewhat good, even though he did push Bran out the window, but he did it to protect Cersei. I think if Cersei was out of the picture, Jaime Lannister would be seen as good. But whenever Cersei's concerned, somebody's going to die. That's all there's to it. Anyways, there's this whole speech about who did what to whose daughter. And Cersei gets revenge because she poisoned her daughter just the way her daughter was poisoned. And she has him tied up in a bait, and I mean, she takes this off of her and kisses her with that poison. And now the mother just has to watch her daughter just deteriorate, and it can take weeks. So, I mean, it's like, oh my God, like, it's terrible. She was going to have the mountain. She was going to have the mountain just crush her whole skull, but she's like, nah, be too quick. And she said, I'm going to make sure that you watch, and if you refuse to eat, we're going to shove food down your throat. So that's pretty terrible. Anywho, moving on, the Queen has a meeting with the Iron Bank. And of course, you know that Castle Rock has no money, yada, yada, yada. The Iron Bank wants their money. The Queen says, give me a fortnight, and I'll have your money back to you. Yeah. The Iron Bank is looking to fund the winner, or the person they think they might win. So we're going to see how that goes. Anyways, let's move on. Look, the Iron Bank is vicious. Okay, so here's Jon talking to Tyrion again, and Tyrion's trying to get information out of Jon, trying to find out what exactly do you want. The good thing here is Tyrion actually believes Jon about the White Walkers. Now, you got to understand, most people don't either care about the Night King and the Long Night. The reason why they don't care is because it was a long time ago. You know, the Long Night lasts for years. You know, so the last time it happened was like 100 years, and it was actually longer than that, because Aegon and them were alive 100 years. So it happened before Aegon. So you got to understand, these people really don't care because it's not happening now. So they're not prepared for it. You know what I mean? So the good thing is Tyrion's like, yeah, okay, fine. I believe you, but Daenerys doesn't believe you. And this is pretty much where he convinces him, look, what do you pretty much want? You want the dragon glass? I'll see if she can let you mine the dragon glass. And that's what he pretty much went to talk to Daenerys about. Okay, if dragon glass is what he wants, give it to him. You know, he's king of the north, fine for right now. Let him be king of the freaking North. As long as he's on our side and we're not fighting against him, big whoop de freaking do if he's king of the North. You're not even heading north. You're heading south. Okay? Big deal. Let him have the dragon glass and go back north. Quit treating him like a prisoner and moving on. You know, I agree with Tyrion 100% on that. Who cares? You didn't even care about the North. Not to mention, the North is so big, it's really, really hard to hold. Here she is talking to Jon Snow and pretty much, telling him, fine, you can have the dragon glass. You know what I mean? It's not like she doesn't care about it. Well, she really doesn't because she didn't know it was there. So it's like, it's no sweat to her. But what she really wants is his army. You know what I mean? That's what she really wants. And I think eventually, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. For all you tinfoil hats out there, I think these two are going to end up getting together. And who knows, the prince that was promised might come out of these two. I don't know. I'm reaching. Okay, fine. Moving on. Yeah, blow my nose there. I mean, Dany doesn't have any kids. She lost the one kid to Drogo. She lost that child, right? The horse that was the one that was going to mount the horse, yada yada yada. Anyways, Peter Baelish, one of my favorite villains, pretty much is. See, Sansa is Queen of the North now, until Jon returns, if Jon returns. Sansa's Queen of the North, right? So everybody's tending to her and listening to her. And the good thing about Sansa is, for one, she's from the North. For two, she's been through hell. I couldn't wait till Sansa. This is going to sound bad, but I couldn't wait till something bad happened to Sansa. Now, the stuff that happened to her was pretty damn terrible. I wasn't looking at that like, yeah, do something. But I did want her to get into a fight or two. I wanted something. I just wanted something. I wanted her to see how life really is. Now, of course, when she met the Lannisters, she got a quick whiff of how life really is. And she was through the War of the Blackwater. Of course, she was also almost married to a monster, Joffrey. And, and then she was, sold to the Boltons by Peter Baelish and raped repeatedly every day until she made sure that he was eaten by dogs, and she was saved by the same person she was put in captivity with, which is Peter Baelish. And now she's taking advice from none other than Peter Baelish, because let's just face it, she does need his men. So here they are at Winterfell, preparing for the whole North to converge on Winterfell for the battle that's going to happen. And mind you, they're nowhere near Castle Black. Castle Black is probably where is closer to the Fist of the First Men than where this is, where Winterfell is. That's where they're going to come through. I don't think they're going to come over the wall. They have to go past the wall. So, what is it? No, it's Eastwatch. I'm sorry. Eastwatch is by the sea. So remember, the Hound said he saw thousands of them down by a mountain that looks like an arrow. I think it's a Fist of the First Man, but I could be wrong. Anyway, moving on. Peter Baelish gives Sansa some real dope advice, and I'm going to use that in my everyday life. He pretty much tells her, fight on each side, always in your mind. That way, nothing will shock you. So Bran comes home, and Bran doesn't want to be king of the North. Sansa, what I really like about this is Sansa was quick to relinquish her queendom. Like, you're in charge now. You know what I mean? So, and Sansa still has some innocence in her, even though she's running around with killers. You know what I'm saying? She still wants to be innocent. That's what I really love about Sansa's character. Arya, you can tell there's no innocence in Arya whatsoever, but Arya's never been with a man. But Sansa, she's done the whole rigmarole, but she's never killed somebody with her own hands. Difference between the two sisters. Bran tries to explain the red-eyed raven, the three-eyed raven, but it doesn't go over too well with Sansa, because I think Bran is still in shock over watching Hodor die. I mean, hold the door. That was a rough scene, you know. And plus, they've been traveling in the freezing cold, of course, until they got to the Nice Watch, and now they're delivered to Winterfell. It's good to see Bran home, but you don't. Bran. It's almost like, what are you gonna do? Truthfully, I never did like Bran's story. I never liked anything about Bran, uh, like never, because I thought his story was boring. However, the possibility that Bran is, well, he is going to fly. He's going to warg into a dragon. I'm excited about that. Let's move on. That's going to be dope. So he's a three-eyed raven, and he's a warg, and just, he pretty much tells Sansa right here, he was like, it was so beautiful that night with you in the wedding dress. He told Sansa that he can see everything. It's just hard to put the pieces together. Well, he obviously seen a wedding night that Sansa had. You know what I mean? And of course, it didn't go too well. But nonetheless, that's the same night that she got raped repeatedly by I forgot his name, the Bolton dude that took over, Ramsay Snow, pretty much. And yeah, so that didn't go too well. But I don't. You know what? What's really crazy is, why would you mention that knowing that your sister got raped repeatedly that night if you can see everything? Let's move on. Yeah, I could have kept that to myself. Sorry, Sansa. Forgot that you had a hard time that night, but yeah, I was trying to explain to you. Anyway, Samwell heals Sir Jorah Mormont, and then he's put back on paper duty. But he heals Sir Jorah Mormont. So Sir Jorah Mormont is going to make his way to see Daenerys Stormborn. He's got another lease on life. He's like, I'm going to see Daenerys Stormborn. Now, mind you, in the Citadel, nobody has ever healed somebody of grayscale at that magnitude, but Sam has done it. And, you know, when he was asked how, he's like, I just read the book and followed the directions, but I don't think that's what happened. I think Sam is, like his girlfriend said, some type of wizard. I think he's special. Remember, there's all kind of people with special powers. Dany's fire, you know, the Greyjoy's ability to summon storms. I'm just going to put it out there. I think Samwell has some ability. Anyway, Missandei, one of the most beautiful women in the entire world, Westeros and this earth, is just pure gorgeous. But let's move on to what they're talking about. I forgot what the scene was. You know what I really want to get to before I stop? I want to get to the last scene. That's what I really want to get to. I want to say this, Game of Thrones. I love you, Game of Thrones. But to me, the battle, I knew there was going to be a battle at the end. You know, that was cool how Tyrion led them under Castle Rock. But what I didn't like was, of course, that wasn't much of a battle to take Castle Rock because it's pretty much no good anymore. All the gold is mined from out of it. You know, it's not going to be able to be held for very long. You know, all the cupboards are empty. So Castle Rock is going to be abandoned, and eventually it'll be taken back by the Lannisters if they even want it. They might just give it away, just like they did that other castle that nobody wants. It's just a big old plot of land now. But this is where I really wanted to go. They killed Lady Olenna, Tyrell. You know, they shirked us on the battle, though. It wasn't much of a battle. We didn't see, matter of fact, we didn't see any of the battle. All we saw was an army show up, and that was it. The Tyrell army, we didn't see none of the Tyrell army. Nonetheless, they were no match for the Lannister army, and the Lannister army also had with them the Tullys. Samwell's dad, he was there. Anyways, it's my favorite scene. I knew she was going to do it. I just didn't know when. This is the Queen's justice to me. She basically told Jaime Lannister after he poisoned her that your son died the same way, and I'm the one who did it. Make sure Cersei knows that. And Cersei has no recourse because Lady Tyrell is dead now. So there it is, Game of Thrones, Season 7, Episode 3. There's my retake on it. And yeah, love you, Game of Thrones. I'm out.